Good morning, and welcome back to our channel. The BRICS is a collection of major rising economies. The BRICS originally consisted of 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. In 2024, the membership will grow to 10 countries: Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates are the 5 new countries that have joined the BRICS bloc. One of the main reasons for joining the BRICS bloc is the development of a new global trading system that is completely independent of the US-led system, which is based on US dollar trading and the SWIFT banking system. In this video, we'll talk about the details surrounding the BRICS currency, the motivation of why a lot of countries are moving away from the dollar, and we will also quickly review the true nature of the current monetary system, which is dominated by the US dollar. This is Earth Economy Explained. The method used in Western countries, which is trade denominated in US dollars and performed by Western banks, clearly benefits the United States, but disadvantages everyone else. If we are honest with ourselves, there is no logical reason why a farmer in Brazil selling soybeans to China should utilize an American bank or the exchange in Chicago to complete the transaction or require US money. US banks would be compensated to change Chinese renminbi to US dollars, and Brazil would be charged for transferring US dollars into Brazilian reals, so it's pricey. That is the system that has existed thus far, and it is being phased out. Another element of this arrangement that is highly beneficial to operators within the system is price discovery. Decision makers throughout the world can see markets. We can see that China has just purchased 1 million tons of soybeans from Brazil. We have access to the contracts because our employees carried out the transaction. Because we generated the contracts and put them on our own exchanges, we can watch the prices as they change in real time on our displays. China, Brazil, and the other BRICS members now have the technology to create their own system where they can buy and sell directly without using US dollars or Western banks, and without going via commodities, traders, or exchanges in Chicago. So, as all of the commerce and global trade shifts to the new BRICS trading systems and away from ours, we no longer see pricing. We don't see the true global demand, and we don't know where the supply comes from. To meet demand, we are flying blind due to the information feedback loops that we have built into our systems. They're all gone. This shift of global trade to a non-US dollar-denominated system outside of SWIFT with immediate settlement will harm all of our producers in the extractive and agricultural sectors. Every planting season, the first oil corporations, miners, and farmers compete in the world's oldest and largest poker game. They determine which plant will generate the most revenue at harvest time. To do so, they must make a series of well-informed guesses about their own costs, what other farmers around the world are doing, and what global demand will be. Farmers in North America and Europe spend a lot of money on professional guidance and the most up-to-date information on what is going on right now, and then they closely monitor the futures markets for any news that will affect the pricing of what they have been growing in their fields. We know what has happened to their input expenses. They're going up significantly across the board. Everything costs more on the farm, so getting the remainder of the projection right is critical because they already operate on razor-thin margins. This is a strong analysis, and we'll start with their conclusion. 2019 marked the first time the United States experienced a trade deficit in agricultural. Since then, we have had significant trade deficits in agriculture for 4 out of 6 years, and this year we will break the record. It has always been true that the United States is the breadbasket for Europe and much of the Northern Hemisphere. They claim that American farmers are capable of feeding the entire planet. But today, the US is unable to feed its citizens since the US imports more than it exports. This is what a trade deficit is. I'd like to show you this chart. The blue line represents US agricultural exports, which have always been above the orange import line. They crossed 5 years ago and are currently rapidly diverging. According to the American Farm Bureau Federation, they are concerned since commodity prices for US corn and soybeans have fallen 30% in 12 months, but exports have not increased. You would anticipate dropping prices to boost global demand, but not this time. China used to buy from the US, but now they are instead buying more from Brazil. Therefore, US farmers are exporting surpluses to Mexico, which has become the top export destination for the first time in history. China raised concerns earlier this year when it canceled large wheat orders from the United States and Australia. This was widely expected as an indirect result of the US-China trade conflict. At some point, China will have to respond in kind, correct? China canceled 240,000 tons of U.S. soft red wheat, then returned the following Friday to cancel another 264,000 tons. China also canceled 1 million tons from Australia. The cancellation was the largest ever, and Bloomberg confirms that China found cheaper wheat elsewhere. Ben Buckner works as the chief grains analyst for a Chicago-based corporation. Chicago hosts our largest agricultural exchanges. We pay a lot of money for Bloomberg to tell us what's going on, but they also don't know where China got 1.5 million tons of wheat to replace canceled purchases from the United States and Australia. They don't know, and neither do the farmers, who rely on Chicago grains analysts or Bloomberg to keep them informed. I mean that farmers in the United States, not Australia, planted 1.5 million tons of wheat, which China then canceled, but no one knows who replaced the need. Are there more productive farms in China? Was it Russian? Was Brazil outside our trading systems? Our folks do not know. Here are the prices paid for Chinese grain and wheat, which have reached multi-year lows, indicating that demand is being met someplace. We just don't know where. Looking back, we can see that the demand was met by a mix of all three. Actually, China had a near-record harvest. Russia and Brazil increased their exports, but it was outside our system. We only found out about it later, and it was clearly at lower rates than they were receiving from the US and Australia. Otherwise, they would not have canceled the deals, and prices would not be falling. In this one, they discovered that China's imports of wheat and corn are steadily declining. When this article was written, the USDA was still anticipating large Chinese imports from the United States. However, if those imports fall, a significant demand driver evaporates. This is one of the world's most important stories, and no one has discussed it, let alone what it implies for the US and the rest of G7 countries. In a nutshell, attempting to do business in the real world when we don't know what the prices are is a billion-dollar challenge. The BRICS countries are now doing massive amounts of commerce outside of US institutions such as the Chicago market and outside of the dollar system. So it's like the BRICS and its partners are now doing business in an alternate universe, which the US cannot monitor, study, nor influence in any way. This is clearly a win for the BRICS countries to have created such a sophisticated system and a clear alternative for the Global South to also use. For a Chicago bank that makes risk-free profits every year just processing trades, but for tens of thousands of farmers outside Chicago, it's a million-dollar problem. They planted wheat that there are no buyers for, and they don't know why. But this is why for 100 years we've had a system that the world had to use, because the technology wasn't there to do it any other way. Now the technology is here. Distributed ledgers, central bank, digital currencies, immediate cross-border settlements at zero cost. It's here. The BRICS countries are building a new system, and they're almost finished. And that means that US-dominated system is almost finished too. Do you think the BRICS system will be a serious challenge to the dollar system? And do you think the Global South with BRICS leadership will have a better business environment using it instead of the US one? What do you think the US will do in response to these moves by BRICS? Thank you for watching my take on this critical topic. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, please smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated. As always, stay safe and stay informed. Thank you for watching Earth Economy Explained.